Welcome to Ready, Set, Collaborate with Wanda Pearson. This is where ideas spark, connections grow, and collaborations fuse success. Tune in for inspiring stories, expert insights, and game-changing conversations. Let's build, connect, and thrive together. Remember, collaboration is the key to success.
Welcome back to the Ready, Set, Collaborate podcast, a podcast where powerful connections lead to purpose-driven transformation. I'm your host, Wanda Pearson. Today, I am honored to welcome the phenomenal attorney, Sharon Boykin. So I am so excited to have you here, Sharon, and we both have a passion of what we do.
Yes.
What you're doing. I'm just so excited to have met you. And like I said, there's always room because, so many people out here in the world that don't have the stuff done. I call it, they don't have the legal love letter done, right?
Yes.
But no, it's it. But what sets her apart is her passion for helping women rise, pivot, and thrive. Even in the face of life's biggest challenges, get ready for a conversation that blends legal wisdom, personal resilience, and purpose-driven power. All right, Sharon, here we go here.
Right.
Yeah, say something to the audience.
Hello, audience, and to my sister Wanda, thank you so much for inviting me to be with you on your podcast. I am looking forward to sharing this information and just expanding and growing.
Absolutely, absolutely. Thank you for being on here. I really appreciate it. So let me talk a little bit about Sharon's bio here. Sharon is an attorney licensed in the state of Georgia for over 40 years, graduated law school at the University of Georgia in June 2024. She's a legal life coach, and her business is Power of One Decision LLC. She's a speaker and an author of 13 books. Wow, 13, girl. I got to catch up. 13 books and counting. Yes. I tell you, it really makes a difference. I do have your book, which is great.
Okay.
In her career, she has been in private practice, a special assistant attorney general, assistant district attorney, judge, unemployment insurance tax chief, disability, how do you say it? Adjudication association director, probate court administrator, and child advocacy center attorney. Wow, girl, I got me a star on this. Really, I can't say nothing else. I'm like, all these, a judge, a district attorney.
Yes. Yes.
I'm so
40
proud.
years have gone by rather quickly, and even when our class had our 40th class reunion last year, in June of last year, everybody was so surprised. It's been 40 years. I always think it's a back on crack. I hope I don't look like what I've been through.
We don't. I go home. I'm from Chicago. And I go home from Chicago. I said, Wanda, you still look the same. I said, that's great. Because some people, you don't know who they are. But no, it's amazing. And to have 40 years of what you're doing here. And I think I have probably about 40 years from my high school reunion. I don't know. I graduated when I was a junior in high school, and when I went to college. Let me finish up your hair. Who you're married to? She is married to Raymond Borkin. He is a stepmom.
I'm the stepmom and the step grandmother.
That's right. She is married to Raymond Borkin, stepmom and step grandmother. She's a member of Alpha Kappa Alpha sorority. That's always been one of my sorority that I wanted to join. My girlfriend is AKA. So
okay.
Yeah,
it's not too late.
I don't know about that, girl. Since February 1980, she is an active member of Ebenezer Baptist Church in Atlanta, Georgia. That's awesome, Sharon. Welcome. This bio you got a lot of accolades under you here. So
yes,
welcome to Ready, Set, Collaborate podcast. Now, would you like to say a little something before I dive into some of the questions I want to ask you?
Sure. Again, just happy to be here. And let me just clear up a couple of things that you mentioned. I've been with Ebenezer for at least 3 years. Okay. My husband and his family have been members of Ebenezer a while since he was a child.
Wow.
And very active at Ebenezer. I'm on the deaconess board, teach Sunday school, the salt ministry, the women's, you name it, I'm active. I keep my fingers going. And like I said, when I look back over my legal career, I'm amazed too at all the things that I've done. And as we get into the discussion, my passion is as I learn stuff, I want to share stuff. Because part of our problem is that we don't know the rules to play the game to win.
Absolutely. You said it right there. Knowing the rules to play the game. So that is so true. And I really appreciate you sharing that. So let's talk about how inspired you to become an attorney and focus on trust and legacy planning? What made you get into doing that?
Wanda, I'm not sure. Are you a daddy's girl?
Yes,
I'm too. Okay. I'm the
yes,
oldest of four siblings.
me too.
And but my father passed away the Friday before Father's Day in 2018.
Wow.
Every time Father's Day come around, we have to relive that event. And but that was in June of 2018. But my family suffered a family member passing in July, August, September, October, November, December, January.
Oh my goodness.
And it was my great aunt that passed away in January of 2019. And it's just, you just hated when the phone rang, who was at this time, where in the country, was it on my mother's side, dad's side, all over the place.
Yeah.
But then 4 months later, in May of 2019, I became the first probate court administrator in DeKalb County. And probate court is the court that handles when people pass away, or we also issue gun licenses and marriage licenses. So I used to tease people in line. I told the woman, get both the marriage license and the gun license. This is till death do us part. Husband always laughs when I say that. But looking at what I went through from my family on the inside with all the people, family members passing, some had their their estate plan in order and some did not. And now here I am working for the court to see what's on the books in the state of Georgia. So my sister was the one that encouraged me to write a book about helping people to get their plans in place. But her one thing to me, Sister Wanda, was don't use those fancy legal words you lawyers like to use because we don't know what the heck y'all are talking about. Keep it simple. So the book that I wrote is called Help Me Get My Stuff in Order. And it's just a workbook for you now to look at all of your stuff, put up this outline. You have clothes, you have a car, you got bank accounts, you have whatever it is, furniture, whatever you have, who do you want to leave those things to? Because as we know, when we make that transition, we can't take this stuff with us. That was and even though I've done other things since being a probate court administrator, every time I meet someone, I have that conversation. I said, do you have your stuff in order? And when the person says, okay, that means no.
I
So
know.
here you are with children or you have things. I said, what you have on right now, somebody wants it. So shouldn't you decide who gets it versus the state where you live? Make that decision for you. And you may not agree with what's on the books in your state. And you may not even know what it is. But then there's this surprise that's coming because now if you don't put it in place, your state determines who gets what you have.
Absolutely. It's funny because my father died in 2018 as well, and that was a for me. But when I started networking, I was getting out there, and I had made this poster where there's a will, there's 500 relatives. Uncle Sam, Uncle, you know who your relatives are. They come out of nowhere. So
Yes.
that got the conversation started. But no, I love what you do, and I actually have your book, and that's so true because it's funny how that years ago I had actually said legal love letter. You know, what's a legal love letter? And I talk about that, and I'm glad that you actually wrote a book about what to do and how, because I'm telling you,
Absolutely.
family members you ain't never heard from in years, they come out of the woodwork. And that's when it goes into probate because now they're going to fight you for it, right?
And it's a fight from beginning to end because if you don't have the plan in place, someone, maybe more than one person, is coming to the court asking to be named the administrator over your estate because they get paid out of your funds to do this job.
Yeah.
But sometimes it's more than one person fighting over that job because, again, some people are attracted to the money and not doing what is right. And I especially encourage people to have minor children, or even you have a special needs child. You know who you trust. If something were to happen to mom and dad, who would then step in to take care of that child and take care of them the way you would have taken care of that child. But if you don't name someone, you'll have multiple people and you'll be mad because everybody has that family member you do not want. And I guarantee you that person's going to be one of the ones that's going to step up to be that person because they want to get their hands on the money of your estate.
Yep. Yep.
So it's very important, especially like I said, if you have children or a special needs child, you have got to think about who you trust. take that
Absolutely.
job on if something were to happen to you and mom and dad before that child was able to take care of things on their own.
Hmm. Thank you for saying that because we do have my grandson the same thing as far as I tell my daughter we got to make sure that he's in order because he's older, but
Mm-hmm.
we want to make sure that somebody who loves, not about. And
Right.
they always said money is the root of all evil. Okay, how much am I going
The
to get?
love of it.
But yeah, lover, right?
Yes.
Love of all money. Remember the was it the OJ's? Was it money, 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 money?
Uh-huh. The love of money. Oh, we're
Right.
sharing our age, Sister Wanda.
I know, but it just came in my head, so I had to say that. So you've known for making legal topics approachable and empowering. What's the number one misconception people have about estate planning or trust?
There are several, I would say, kind of at the top of this line. One is people will say, if I do a will, I'm telling God I'm ready to die.
Mhm.
That, as we know, is not true. Every last person has 2 days, date you were born, the date you're going to transition, and we're living in that dash in between the 2 days. It's just that we don't know when that second date is going to occur. It's not controlled by whether you have your plan in place or not. That second date is going to occur. We just don't know when. But as I said, we can't take any of this stuff with us. And then someone said, well, Sharon, it costs too much money to do a will. And I said, really? I said, the thing is, it costs more money when you don't have a will or any of your estate plans in place. Because again, now you got to go through the court system. And one of the things we have to do when someone steps up and wants to be the administrator of your estate, we have to post a notice in your local newspaper that run in Georgia. It has to run for 4 consecutive weeks.
Wow.
Let the world know that you died without a plan in place. Now, if you are a private person, don't want people all in your business, you just open the door for people to come. Now, they can be in the courtroom, they can listen, they can look at your documents. So, shouldn't you protect your stuff? And then
Mhm.
some people say, I don't really have anything. I'm not a rich, wealthy person. Why do I need a plan? It's
Yeah.
not about that you're wealthy or how much your stuff costs. It's still your stuff. And one day I'll say this one thing and then I'll be quiet. We ask Lord, we get paid by the word. But I had, when I was a younger attorney, I had a lady come and see me. She was 85 years old, a Black female. She brought me 10 sheets of notebook paper where
Mm.
she wrote out everything she owned and who she wanted to leave it to. Now,
Mm.
Sister Wonder, when I say everything, she listed dishes, towels, sheets,
Wow.
hats, pocketbooks, jewelry,
Mm.
everything she had.
Mm.
She listed it. She described the color, what it looked like, and who she wanted to leave it to. And her comment to me was, now, please don't laugh at me. I just have been through so many ugly fights when other family members died without having their plan in place. I
Mm.
don't want it to happen when it's my turn. So when we prepared her will, she came back to sign it. She left the office with the biggest smile on her face because she said, now I can go and enjoy the rest of my life, knowing that when the time comes, it ain't going to be no mess because I've already decided who's getting what.
That's
And it's not
awesome.
about, again, how much it costs or anything. Yeah, there are rich people who die without a will, there are poor people who die without a will. It's just that we all have something
Mhm.
that we have worked for or acquired that we cannot take with us. That shouldn't you decide who now gets it when you make your transition?
That's awesome. I love it that she did that because she knew by seeing what was happening in the family, what can happen. So that's all. 85-year-old woman that still had her wits
Right.
to come in and have you do that to make sure it is prepared. And it's funny how she said, now I can live the rest of my life. Because there ain't no peace when you have to fight over stuff.
No, and what you think is on the books in your state, you're gonna be surprised.
Yeah.
There are some crazy laws in the states. And again, I'm licensed here in Georgia. I was just amazed when I was finding this information out. So I'm constantly asking people, here, can I give you a quick little scenario, Sister
Yeah.
Wanda?
Yes,
So
please.
suppose this husband and wife, they've been married a couple of times before they got married to each other. They have children from these different relationships, but now husband and wife in Georgia buy a house. Their names are on the deed, their names are on the mortgage, the taxes, what have you. But if dad dies first, who now owns the house? And when I would be at church and I would ask some women, I see the couples walking out and I ask them that question. Wife put her hand on her hip. Sharon, why are you asking me that question? It's my house. I'm on the mortgage, I'm on the taxes. And I said, are you sure? And then they look back and said, why you asked that question? I said, because in Georgia, when you buy a house, is it just husband and the two people, let's say husband and wife, and their names only? Or does the will say, does the deed say husband and wife with rights of survivorship? If that tagline, rights of survivorship, is there, whichever one dies first, the survivor now owns 100% of the house.
Wow.
If that tagline is not there, each person just owns 50% of the house. So if the husband dies first, who are his heirs? The wife, hopefully it's the legal wife, and all the children. So now George is going to slice up his 50% of the house among his heirs.
And his children.
It can be a lot of people at the end of the day who now own a percentage of that house that the wife thought it was hers if he died first. So again, you think you know and you don't know. Don't assume anything. If you're in a different state, contact an estate attorney, an estate planning attorney who can now tell you what your state says. And go check your deed. And if it doesn't protect you, make sure you put your plan in place so you say, if I die first, my half of the house goes to, or you revise the mortgage and add that tagline that says rights of survivorship here in Georgia.
I'm so glad you said that, because I remember when I retired from IBM, I went to a Social Security class. Same thing, Social Security. Now, the husband got remarried, but he didn't change his will. So who's it go to? It goes to the first wife. So I said, make sure you update that information if you don't want it to go to the first wife.
Yes.
So
it's not a one and done, because you may leave your card to a child, the child dies before you do. So yeah, you make the will, but you need to review it on a regular basis and update and make changes.
Absolutely.
And hopefully you're keeping it in a secure place. And I would say if it's at home in a fireproof container somewhere, it's safe or what have you, but don't just leave it in a shoebox in the closet that nobody knows where your documents are.
Exactly. And I'm glad you said, yeah, because actually our daughters, we just redid ours, so we can do it every year. Both our daughters have a copy of it. So one is in North Carolina, one's here. So when my husband was in the hospital about a month ago, they asked for his advance directive. I'm like, why are you asking for it? But we didn't know it was that serious.
Right.
So luckily I had our daughter in Marietta. I said, Tori, bring the copy of your will. So that's why I always tell people, make sure another person that you trust has that will, so that if anything happens, they have it there. But yeah, no, it's very important. No, thank you for that. That's very insightful information.
Yes.
And updating it continuously, because things change in your life. You just never know, what can happen.
Absolutely.
So I'm gonna have to have you back on my show here, but let's get
that time is gonna be up soon.
I know, but I'm gonna have you back on because you just share so much valuable information about this, and it's so important, and especially in today's world. So let's talk about reinvention and resilience. So you've also walked a powerful journey, personal journey. Can you share a moment when your life required when you had to reinvent yourself? And it seemed like you had to reinvent yourself with all the different positions that you were in.
Absolutely. And when I think back over all of those positions, like I said, I started out as a private attorney, and then I was a special assistant attorney general prosecuting cases for the Office of Child Support Enforcement. That's a whole nother story. And then I was a magistrate court judge, and that was interesting. And just again, when you're doing different things, and sometimes again, when you're the first one or first person of color in these roles, that puts enough pressure on you too, because I learned that the law is not blind. It treats us differently.
Yes.
And when I was an assistant district attorney in cases where I had a lot of discretion, I would sometimes send a letter to the defendants inviting them to my office so we can close the door and talk about their case and see what resolution we could come to, or what was their defense and what things we need to put in place on their case. None of them showed up. But then when court date happens and I walk in and take my seat at the table, then they see us, oh, it's a sister. Let me holler at you now about my case. And I'm looking, I said, it's too late to holler at me about your case. Why didn't you come to my office a couple of weeks ago? We could have talked about your case. Now I have a job to do. I can't be your defense attorney and prosecute you at the same time. Because the judge does not look like us. The court personnel does not look like us. And so I'm under the microscope just like you are. Am I going to do my job and represent the state of Georgia? And that's what I have to do. But as I said, when I go through these different jobs and I've learned things, especially when now you peel back the curtain, you see what's going on behind the scenes and how we have been treated in the legal field from slavery even up to 2025 today, things that people don't understand. So that's when I started writing books. And in fact, the very first book, now you're going to laugh at the title, Denzel and Sharon Create Their Perfect Life.
Yeah, I love it because I listen.
I didn't say Denzel Washington, but I want people to smile and they always laugh. I have met the real one, but that's a whole nother story. But the things that all those different legal things that I've gone through and the different aspects of people's lives that I've done touched, I use a story of this couple and the things that they go through, and then talk about the legal issue behind what happened.
That's awesome.
When even in the situation with the will, family was at mom's house for Christmas dinner and all the siblings were there and they were talking behind mom and dad's back. One brother said, I called dad and the phone was cut off because he forgot to pay the phone bill. Then they start wondering, okay, does dad have some kind of mental issue that we need to maybe get him a guardian or a conservator to handle the money? So again, these different topics that come up because you're recognizing something this isn't adding up. But now you need to know what legal issues and what things can I do to handle that scenario. So that's why I talk about it in the storybook of this couple with all the different things that I've done so that people now understand from a legal standpoint, oh, now I understand why this happened or why the prosecutor's coming after me or why I need a defense attorney or whatever it is, because now they're understanding it from a story standpoint versus me lecturing from a legal standpoint. You versus using all those legal words. We don't know what you just said. We don't even know how to ask a question. So keep it simple so we understand the process.
Yes, I love that. I love that you do that because you're educating people in the sense that they understand, especially with the storytelling as far as that. But yeah, but I love the Denzel because Denzel has always been my favorite actor.
Now, you invite me to come, I can tell you how I met him, but it was to do my job. And when I was tax commissioner, one of my supervisors, her brother was the athletic director at Morehouse when Denzel's son played football at Morehouse.
Okay.
So she would come to work on Monday bragging about who all they had weekend dinner with. And I said, look, you got one more time to come and talk about meeting Denzel or having dinner with him and his wife and the family. And then she asked me the dumbest question. Do you want to meet Denzel? Yeah. So yeah, I did get a chance to meet him and wow. And post pictures on my Facebook page. But yeah. But that's what I said when I used that name, Denzel and Sharon create their perfect. Like even my husband laughed at that. Again, it's more to get people to drop their anxiety of talking to me. Let's just have a conversation. Let's use this couple as the example. And I'm not, especially when I'm speaking to a group, I'm not asking you for your personal information. I am using a couple and giving kind of their scenario, and then that leads people to say, let me talk to you about my personal stuff, and then we do that privately.
I love that. I love how you do that, to really get people to trust you and start talking about it. So let's talk about how does your faith or life experience fuel your mission to protect families and communities legally and spiritually?
And I give God all of the credit, and you just go through life and you see where you are in life and the things that you need to call a blessing and not complain about that 5, 10, 15, 20, 25% of your life that's not what you want it to be. And I had to catch myself too. I said, we put fertilizer on the negative instead of putting things thank yous and appreciation and blessings on that positive side of our life that is going well.
Mhm.
And sometimes when I'm riding through Atlanta, I would not get on some of the interstates. I'll just ride through what I call the scenic route. And
Mhm.
just when you're seeing people that are homeless or people who are on the corner, the sign asking for help, it just, number one, it encourages me, number one, I'm blessed to be a blessing.
Yes.
And I even have I create and put together, every time I get paid, I put together some little bags in my car. And inside the bag, I may have some snacks. I may have a mask that people can wear, or now I'm putting a little Bible in the bag. And I also put an envelope with some money in it and just say, God loves you. And if I meet somebody and I'm not second guessing, is this somebody trying to scam me or whatever? That's between them and God. But
Right.
I'm going to be a blessing to somebody else. And again, I use my legal experience and the things that I've been in again to just share what I've learned and helping people, because again, we get in trouble because we don't even know the rules, even how
Mhm.
to be successful, or when I fall down, how to get back up
Yeah.
and keep moving forward, because
Yeah.
nobody's life is perfect. We've all had some down moments, we've had some up
Oh,
moments,
oh
but
yeah.
then just be thankful each and every moment. You turn on the news and you're like, wow, look what happened to somebody last night.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
try to say these things out loud because I'm encouraging myself with the words as well. To, like I said, God has blessed me, let me be a blessing to others.
I love that. I love what you did. That's a great idea as far as putting stuff in a little brown paper bag and giving.
Mm.
And I say the same thing. I grew up in Chicago. I grew up in some of the rough areas. Thank God for my father who brought me out of that. But just to be thankful for God, where God brought us and what we're doing.
Yes.
Because I said I didn't think I would ever be doing what I'm doing now because of the situations that I went through. So I love that. So why do you believe collaboration is essential in the legal world and personal growth? Can you give an example from your work or life?
We got to be more in a collaborative mode instead of a competition mode.
Yes.
Being in the majority wants us to be competing with each other for that one little spot that they've allowed one person to get to. That's not true. The world is big enough for all of us to keep moving forward and to be successful. But I don't know everything. So I need to collaborate with somebody who knows something that I don't know. So if we put what we know together, we enlarge who we can have an impact on. So it's not about competing against trying to get that one little spot, which
Mhm.
really is not a spot, but let's collaborate, because again, what you know and what I know, we don't know the same things, but we can combine what we know together and, like I said, expand who we can help. So, and
Mhm.
in fact, I've been in some collaboration books, and
Mhm.
I encourage people. I try to encourage people to write a book. And some people would talk themselves out of doing it because, again, the enemy is whispering in your ear, you're not educated enough to write a book. Kick the enemy's butt out your life, and just because we've all gone through things, whether it's health wise or just family issues or even on your job, that you have learned to share with somebody who's looking for that light at the end of their tunnel. So, what
Mhm.
if a family came together and wrote a family book, and each person did a chapter of what you learned in the family as you were growing up? That helps those younger generations understand the importance of your family, the grandparents, the great grandparents, and what you've learned on your job that can help someone who wants to follow in your footsteps.
Yes.
So when you've done that collaboration book, then now you're not afraid to do multiple books of your own
Yes.
and keep the story going. But then you're increasing wealth, because if somebody's buying your book, you're earning money from the sale of that book, which is another multiple stream of income.
Yes. Yes. I love it because and I said I would never write a book. And one of the ladies, she's a minister too. She said, Wanda, God told me to call you. I said, okay. I just told my girlfriend I'm never writing a book. Who want to be my story? I said, I'm never writing a book. Next thing I know, she called me. She said, Wanda, God told me to call you. I said, okay, what he said? I'm not going to disobey God.
Uh-huh.
I should be part of the collaboration book. I said, I don't know. I don't know if I should do that. And I did. And that's how I start writing with
Mhm.
that. And I had my stuff together. It was 9 of us, 10 of us all together, ladies.
Wow.
I had it again. I love the title Audacity to Shine. And what I loved about it is just the title of it, Audacity to Shine. So I did that one. And then the
Mhm.
next one I got into, I said, another lady came from California. Why don't you be part? No, no more collaboration, but no, I'm done. And I did, and that actually impacted my voice. That was one of the books that I wrote. And I said, okay, what can I name this title? And it's actually Never Say Never, God Has a Plan for You. So
Wow.
that was powerful. So after that, Sharon, just like you said, the collaboration, you don't know who you're gonna do. So they asked me to be part two. I said, no, no more collaboration. I'm writing my own book. And that's when I wrote my own book, God's Grace
Mhm.
is Fire from Struggle to Triumph. So I hear
Wow.
you because that collaboration actually gets you started to be able to work with other people to bring your expertise out. You just never know. Never know. Well, we got to, oh my God. Okay, we got to, I'm gonna run through these questions here because like I said,
Okay.
we're gonna have you on here again. What advice do you have for women, especially business owners, when it comes to protecting their legal legacy?
Well, let me say this. I have a free ebook
Mhm.
at www.helpmegetmystuffinorder.com. And I pass those cards out. I'm encouraging people. And again, we have things that we have acquired. Number one, we're in business to increase our assets and our income and things that we acquire. But you got to have this part too, which is the plan of who am I going to leave this stuff to? Is it to
Mhm.
protect my children, my grandchildren, great grandchildren? Maybe I need a trust that continues to live on as I transition so that money is available for great grandchildren.
Mhm.
So that's the thing. It's like having that conversation with someone to really put that plan in place. So again, that lady that was smiling when she left my office, she can still go and enjoy the rest of her life, knowing that when that second transition date happens, things are in place. You got a business. Who are you going to leave the business to? Who's going to run it? If you have a house, car, bank accounts, clothes, jewelry, whatever it is that you have, who are you going to leave that to and bless other people with? Does the family have a family Bible? Grandmother passed it down to your mom and your mom gave it to you. Again, those things are things that you want to protect and leave to the right person going to take care of it and keep it going and keeping it in the family. So
Yes.
it's very important that we all, no matter what your income level is, think about how you're going to put something in place and don't let the state make that decision for you. You got the stuff. You need to decide who gets it. And again, especially women who are very successful in business.
Yeah.
So again, you got a lot more questions to answer about who's going to handle certain things when your second date occurs.
Yes. I love that. That is so true. And I tell people, yeah, you need to make sure you're a business owner. You need to make sure that's in your will as well. It makes
Yes.
a big difference because
What's going to
sometimes,
happen to your business? Yes.
exactly, exactly. Like our
So there's
business.
no fighting.
Oh my God. Like I
Or
said,
mama said, auntie said, grandmama said, nobody heard that conversation. What did they
yeah,
put in writing?
I had a lot of my clients, and I tell you, Sharon, when I saw a lot of stuff like this happening, when they signed up for our service, and I was like, oh my God, this really happens. And then it happened to me. When my brother died, I was like, oh my
Yes,
God, I didn't know. So then that was like an example of what was happening.
right.
That makes a big difference. So tell us about any current programs, workshop, or resources you offer that help people secure their future. I know you have something coming up. Tell us about that.
And what I do is that, and it's constantly Wanda. I mean, I this is the month of August, and
Mhm.
August is known as the National Get Your Last Will and Testament Done month.
Yeah.
So on my blog, and you can find this information at my website, legallifecoachsharonbaker.com. And I have a blog. So every day in this month of August, I am writing and answering questions about why you should have your will and get it done.
Mhm.
And again, people have all these misconceptions or they think they know and don't really know. But what I end up doing is I do what I call a free discovery kind of interview so we can talk about what your situation is. And because
Uh,
everybody's situation is different, then we start putting together what plans and what documents you need. And as I said, I call them the legacy love letters. Maybe a
hmm.
will, a trust, and you mentioned about when your husband was in the hospital. that medical directive. And people are like, what are all these things? Okay, I explain it in common language. But we need to have, and again, if you have children, naming some guardians and just things that we put in place so that if something happens, you can still focus on getting well versus, oh, I didn't do A, B, C, and D, and who can go handle A, B, C, and D. We want to put those things in place before, or hopefully that event doesn't happen, but we just don't know. So that's why I encourage people to say, get in contact with me. Again, and I would say, go to my website, Legal Life Coach, SharonBaker.com.
And you're going to send that to me. Send everything that you have there, because I'm going to put it in the show notes as far as your website, the free ebook, all of that.
And the blog and everything. So all of that is under that one website. You can see all that information, but I will get it back, send it in to you. And again, I am in Georgia, but I'm a member of several bar associations. So if you're in another state and you're like, Sharon, I was watching this podcast, I'm in Texas, or I'm in Florida, or I'm in California. Can you help me find a lawyer who can handle this for me? Yes, I can make some requests to some of my bar members in the different bar associations that I am in. And generally, when people ask me that question, I send them a list of maybe 5 attorneys. And I said, talk to all 5 of them, and which one do you connect with? But you need to be clear before you can start talking to the lawyer. Look at your stuff and have your own plan. When the dust is finished and the dust settles, what do you want your plan to look like in the future? Then the lawyer knows which documents they need to put in place. But don't let the legalese start getting in your way. Just keep it common, keep it simple, and just say, I have 5 kids, 1 is special needs, and I know who I want to trust to take care of that child. The other ones I want to pay for college, or whatever you want to do. You write out what you want it to look like in the future. And then the lawyer now can put the legal plan in place so that those things happen, or those things are documented, what you want to have happen. So again, you can get in contact with me no matter where you are, and I can send you some referrals of where you are. But again, start with documenting what you want. And you can also get the book at that website too, or go to Amazon and get the book. Start writing out and answering these questions. Who do you want to leave stuff to?
I love it. And also, the last thing we have to say, if you're doing all this, make sure you get it notarized, because it means nothing but a piece of paper, because you got to get it notarized, people.
Yeah, there's some touch and goes, because sometimes let's say in a situation here in Georgia, again, as I said, each state has something different. Let's say you had a will done in Georgia, you signed the will, you had 2 disinterested witnesses who also signed the will, but the signatures were not notarized.
Yes.
When you pass, the court wants to talk to one or both of those witnesses to question them. Did Sharon know what she was doing? Was she in her right mind? Is this her? You saw her sign? We want to get testimony from those witnesses. But if the signatures, yours and the 2 witnesses, were all notarized, in Georgia, it's called a self-proving will. And the court does not need evidence and testimony from any of your witnesses, because if we see that notary seal, we say, okay, it was done. We're saying that it is a self-proving will. It is legal. Because if it's not notarized, what happens if your witnesses died before you did? Now there's nobody to come and testify about the signing of the will. Yeah, it's not a requirement, but it's strongly recommended so that you don't have any kind of hiccups in the future. Now, again, different states have different things on the books. I'm just telling you what's going on here in Georgia. But again, I can get you some referrals in your state so that you can find out, what does my state require? I will be notarized, or is it okay if it's not notarized? So just be careful. Do not assume. You know what assumption means.
I know. My father told me that. Don't assume, Wanda. You know what assume means, right?
You're making, you know what? But get the legal answers to your questions before you need them.
Yes. Thank you.
Before you need them.
Before you need them, and before it goes to probate. So you want to get it before all of that. So, well, thank you so much. Oh my God, this is so inspiring. What a powerful episode with attorney Sharon Boykin, right? From protecting legacies to redefining resilience. Sharon reminded us that true empowerment starts with both preparation and purpose. If you've been putting off your estate planning or thinking about how to leave a legacy of love, now's the time to act. And Sharon is the expert you need in your corner. Be sure to connect with her and don't forget to share and subscribe so that you never miss another episode of conversation about your change of life. So until next time, keep growing, keep glowing, and remember, collaboration is the key to success. Thanks again, Sharon, for being on my podcast. I really enjoyed this, and we are going to have another one. Yeah, because you got a lot of stuff to share, girl. I tell you, this is just like the tip of the iceberg here. But thank you so much.
Yes. Thank you so much for inviting me. And I really did have a lot of fun chatting with you about this issue.
Yes, thank you. And make sure you subscribe because we got a lot of great episodes that we're going to be actually every Wednesday. We have a new episode. So thank you. Until next time, bye.
Bye-bye.
That wraps up another episode of Ready, Set, Collaborate with Wanda Pearson. I hope you found inspiration and valuable insights to help you build meaningful connections and successful collaborations. If you enjoyed today's conversation, be sure to subscribe, share, and stay tuned for more great discussions. Until next time, keep collaborating and making an impact.